Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So certain beneficiaries of Social Security are not only going to be receiving one payment next month in May, but they're actually going to be receiving two payments, with the first of the two payments arriving tomorrow. So we are going to be going over who is going to be eligible to receive those payments, which are going to be worth up to right around $900 each. Plus, Trump is now going after Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as the polls seem to perhaps be narrowing. We're going to be going over that as well. But before we go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Plus, if you would like to receive up to $10,000 in free stocks or $10,000 in free cash, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Moomoo. All you have to do is, once you click on that link, is just sign up for a free account and then deposit at least $100. At that point, Moomoo will be sending you at least 7 free stocks worth all the way up to $10,000. And if you'd really just have the cash, all you have to do is, once you receive the free stocks, is just sell them for what they're worth and then transfer the cash value right back to your bank account. Okay, so diving right into our lead story of today's video. So we are just now right around 6 months away until the elections are held in November. And right now, it's whether it's going to be Donald Trump, another 4 years of Trump, or another 4 years of Biden, or perhaps, just perhaps, we could actually have 4 new years of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We are going to be looking at some polls and how he compares when it comes to voting for Trump or voting for Biden, whether or not he actually stands a chance, and whether RFK Jr. actually hurts Trump more, or whether or not he actually hurts Biden more. Now, the original consensus would be that obviously he would end up hurting Biden more. After all, he is a Democrat. He ran in the Democratic primary, and he actually got a good amount of the votes, but he never really stood a chance because the DNC made it so Biden would really only be the only one who would have a good chance at winning because of the way they lined up their primaries and things like that. Now, according to The Hill here, they're saying here that the Trump-RFK Jr. feud is beginning to heat up as polls tighten. So a fiery battle between former President Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is heating up as polls begin to show that the third-party candidate represents just as much of a threat to the former president as he does to President Biden. Trump took to Truth Social last week to write, RFK Jr. is a Democrat plant, a radical left liberal who's been put in place in order to help crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the United States, get reelected. He said a vote for Jr. would essentially be a wasted protest vote that could swing either way, but would only swing against the Democrats if Republicans knew the true story about him. Now, RFK Jr. Went against that by taking to X. He said that when frightened men take to social media, they risk descending into vitriol, which makes them sound unhinged. President Trump's "ran against me" is a barely coherent barrage of wild and inaccurate claims that should best be resolved in the American tradition of presidential debate. And I completely agree. I would love nothing more than a debate between Biden, Trump, and RFK Jr. Put all three of them up at the stage and let Americans decide which candidate is going to be best for the next 4 years moving forward. They go on to say that the conventional wisdom for months has been that while Kennedy's third-party bid could be a spoiler for both Trump and Biden, it bore more risk to the Democrats given Kennedy's last name. But Decision Desk HQ's aggregate of polling over the last few weeks paints a much more complicated picture. While Trump at times sees his lead over Biden grow with Kennedy is also included in polls, the gap was narrowing last week, and at one point Biden and Trump were in a dead heat in a three-way race with Kennedy. So we're going to be looking at a couple different polls here by Real Clear Politics. The first one that we're going to look at here is a poll between just Trump and Biden and which one voters would be more likely to choose. So here we can see on average Trump is leading Biden by right around 1.4 points, with the most recent poll from Harvard-Harris, Trump leading by 4 points. And then we have another poll by Morning Consult where it's a dead heat, it's high. And then we have a poll by CNN where Trump actually leads by 6 points. And the only poll where Biden leads is by Marist, where Biden leads by 3 points. Now we can take a look at another poll here. This one is Trump versus Biden versus RFK Jr. So now we're throwing Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in the mix. And when we do that, Trump actually benefits from that. But you can see on average with this one, Trump actually leads by 5.4 points, with the most recent poll coming from Harvard-Harris, where Trump leads by 4 points. So Trump does just a little bit better, at least on average there. And then finally, we can actually throw a couple more candidates in the mix, with West and Jill Stein added into the polls as well. So we have Trump versus Biden versus Kennedy versus West versus Stein. And with this, Trump actually does a little bit worse on average. You can see he leads by 1.6 points, but he actually does a little bit better in the Harvard-Harris poll, where he leads by 7 points, whereas you compare it to the Trump versus Biden in that most recent Harvard-Harris poll, where Trump only leads by 4 points. So you throw all these other candidates in the mix, and it seems actually may end up benefiting Trump. But one thing we actually have to keep in mind here is that not all these candidates are going to qualify to be on the state's ballot. So people might show up to vote, let's say like in the state of Nevada or Arizona, for example, or Pennsylvania, and they may not see Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s name on the ballot. They may not see Jill Stein's name on the ballot. They may not see Cornel West's name on the ballot. And sure, they could still write their name in, but they probably, maybe they'll just forget, or maybe they just assume they can't do that, or something like that. So perhaps the polls here may not be the most accurate. We may not see all these people vote for a third-party candidate. Right now, it is showing that around 20% of voters, at least according to this polling, are planning to vote for someone other than Trump versus Biden, which would be pretty unusual, but could certainly happen. So we will just have to wait and see. A lot of people are saying that Trump might be afraid because he's attacking RFK Jr. That could be a bad sign for Trump. But at the same time, if you remember the Republican primary, he was also attacking Nikki Haley and other people running against him, even though they never really stood a chance against him either, and he was really just destroying them in the polls. So I think it's just a matter of Trump pretty much attacking anyone that is going to run against them, even if they really are hurting his chances. Now, moving into news regards to Social Security, next month in May, certain beneficiaries are not only going to be receiving just one payment next month in May, but they're actually going to be receiving two payments because of the way the rules work around the payment schedule in regards to that. So according to Newsweek, Americans to get additional Social Security payment in May. So they say that some Social Security SSI recipients will get a rare second payment next month. SSI recipients nationwide are usually paid on the first day of the month from the Social Security Administration, which makes payments to all claimants. But for May only, SSI recipients will receive their payments for June on the final day of the month, which is May 31st. The change payment also applies to those who receive any Social Security payments and have been claiming since before May of 1997, as well as those who claim Social Security retirement benefits but live abroad. And we can look at the payment schedule, which you will see up there on the screen in the bottom center there. So May 1st, once again, tomorrow, that's going to be the first payment for SSI beneficiaries. Those payments are going to be right around $900 for the maximum for individuals and right around $1,400 for couples. That, once again, is going to be the max, with most people receiving significantly less than that amount. And then finally, on Friday, May 31st, that's going to be the second payment for SSI individuals. As you can see, June 1st actually falls on a Saturday, and anytime the first of a month falls on a weekend or a holiday, you just receive that payment a day or two earlier. So once again, two payments next month for SSI beneficiaries. The first payment is going to be delivered tomorrow on May 1st, and the second payment is going to be delivered on Friday, May 31st, with no payments whatsoever coming for beneficiaries of SSI in the month of June. But that's all we have for today's video. I certainly hope you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.